Hi, everybody. It's Kim from Expressions of the Universe. And as promised in the May video, I'm presenting the birthday water video. Hopefully, it turns out good. How to boost your vital life force. So I'm really excited about this because maybe it's because I have a birthday coming up and I would like to try this and see how it works. I'm using the teachings of Judith Hill from her Academy for Astrological Medicine. She has an entire book dedicated to this. It's called Astrology and Your Vital Force. It's by Judith Hill, if you could see that. Although the slides that I've made are all my own, and I do have to put out my disclaimer that this is strictly for entertainment and folly for us to have a good time. And hopefully our birthday season is always a good time. Although, according to astrology, it can be a little bit of a difficult time. So if you saw my video from May, I talked a lot about birthday water and how to boost your vital life force. And I went ahead and I made an entire presentation for all of you. And I will be using some of the text verbally from this book so that I'm informing you properly and accurately. And there were a lot of frequently asked questions in the Q&As over the years of studying with Judith, and I continued to study with Judith Hill at the Academy for Astrological Medicine so that I can maintain my knowledge and certifiability in the field of astrological medicine and astrofertility. Let me go ahead and share my screen with all of you. And so this video is about birthday water and how to boost your vital life force, but I do touch on moon water, and you may want to get a paper and pencil, take some notes, or feel free to come back to this video as much as you like and pause the screens on the important information. I'll be placing this probably in the Astrology 101 playlist because this is a really good course on just general astrological information and how you can learn to read your own charts. I do have a video in the Astro 101 on how you can pull your own video pull your own birth chart for free. And so that could be very helpful in guiding you towards how to navigate through this video. So here's my written disclaimer. This content in this presentation is for entertainment, enjoyment, and folly. This program is for informational purposes only. You can read the rest, but it's always advising you to please consult a licensed medical professional with any ailments. This just further goes on to elaborate on the disclosure that you should always never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking medical treatment because of something you read on here or online, whether it's from me or anybody else. I work in conjunction with a lot of medical doctors and fertility specialists. Specifically, this is just, for enhancement for all of you. So your vital life force and your chart, best days, worst days, what is birthday water? I talked about this in the May video, but I will elaborate on it now. So when we have our birthday, which is at the 0 point of any given chart, we have our best days and worst days. You may wonder why you are experiencing a rough period or maybe a really great period. You want to be cognizant of the calendar and how it relates to your birthday and to your astrological chart. So, for example, if your birthday is the 0 point of your chart, anything that is in the green or yellow would be really wonderful days. How do you calculate this? Well, of course, you really do need an astrologer to fully, um, calculate these things out for you. But I want to make sure that I am recording this. Let me stop sharing my screen for just a moment. Okay, it is recording. I didn't see the little record sign, so I got nervous and I didn't want to get too far in and discover that I didn't record this because I would probably never go back and redo it again, despite the many hours that I put into making this presentation. All right, so rudimentary, if you do not know how to calculate astrology, there is a quick and easy way for any person to figure out their best and worst days. Obviously, the red circled areas are the worst days. And when I say worst days, meaning they could be a little challenging, they could be a little more difficult. When we're talking in the realm of our vital life force, where the sun is on your exact birthday, the day that you were born, that's when the rays of the sun have come in and enlivened your being. This is how this is perceived in this video. So the best days, let's take the trine. So the triangles or trines are considered some of our best days. These numbers, 120 and 240, represent how many days after the day that you were born you would typically come into a trine or triangle with your own birthday. So 120 days after your birthday and 120 days before your birthday. So you could count 120 days, and then you can count another 120 days, which would give you 240 days from your birthday. Those are considered benefic times. And I'll show you when we're making the birthday water for our vital life force, how you can also make water on those specific days to boost your vital life force. Now, the yellow days, which would be 60 days from your birthday or 60 days before your birthday, 300 days after you were born, those are called sextiles, and that's also beautiful, harmonic, benefic energy. To a lesser degree, you're not necessarily making water on those days, but it's just to point out to you that they should generally be very good days for you. And then if we go around the sphere of the astrological wheel and we look at the malefic days, the days where our vital life force is at its lowest, this is when you would be using the tincture that you make from your birthday water or your trine water, when your body and your soul needs it the most. And I forgot to put in a photo of the chakra system. I may have to pause this and go back, but We don't recommend that you ingest this water, although people do ingest moon water or sun water, and that's up to you. You don't know, like how long has it been sitting, and did you prepare it properly? Don't know. So, do you want to introduce possible pathogens or microbes into your system? What Judith recommends is using this birthday water or the trine water on each of your chakras throughout your body on the days that your vital life force is at its lowest, starting at the crown and ending at the soles of your feet. And you would just take a drop or so of that, put a little on your crown, some on your third eye, then on the throat chakra, the heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral, root, and then the bottoms of your feet. She also recommends that you take a drop and put it at the base of your skull. You could probably feel like this little hollow at the base of your skull. Sometimes you could feel like a little nub there of bone. And so she also recommends putting some of your vital life force water there. And more on that later. But to calculate when are your worst days, you start at your birthday and you count 30, then 90, 150, 180, 210, 270, and 330. Those would be the most challenging days for any given person from their date of birth. Now, the strongest dates would definitely be 180 days, or what is exactly opposite of your birth date. Some people call it their half birthday. Some people call it their unbirthday. That would be the day where your vital life force is at its very, very lowest. Also, the quincunxes, which is 150 degrees or 150 days after your date of birth, and 210 degrees or 210 days. Those quincunxes are extremely strenuous on our vital life force. Also challenging is that 90 degree or the square and the 270 square. So this can be marked in 90 days after your date of birth and 270 days after your date of birth, or 90 days before your birthday. Also included at a lesser degree is the 30-day mark after your birthday, but the 330, which is about 1 month before your birthday, seems to be particularly harrowing. So if you've recently had a birthday, take a look back. How was it? Was there any chaos? Was there any stress and tension? Something happened right before your birthday. So think about that. Now I'm going to show you some examples here, and I'm going to use my date of birth, which is June 4th. And you make your sun or birthday water on the exact birthday and 5 days on either side. Of course, the further away from the birthday you are, the weaker the water is. So it's always best to do it on the day of the birthday, but there's a lot of times when you cannot, astrologically or otherwise, when you shouldn't be making it on your exact birthday. I'll talk about that in a moment. But for me this year, I want to be prepared and put out birthday water for myself beginning on May 30th and possibly running it all the way through June 9th, being sure to capture the water rays, the sun rays in my water on my birthday. But this is why you need, or you should use, an astrologer if you aren't 100% sure of when your solar return is. So for example, my birthday is on June 4th. However, this year, my solar return is happening early in the morning on June 3rd, partially in part because we have a leap year. And it could also, in some years, show up on June 5th. So it's usually within 24 hours before or 24 hours after your actual date of birth. That's why it's so important to either know astrology or have an astrologer in your pocket to calculate these dates out exactly. So for me, I'm going to make sure that I set out my birthday water on the morning of June 3rd. Sunrise is the perfect time, and I believe that's around the time of my solar return, which is 13 degrees and some odd minutes. And that's what you want to look for. So if you are following an ephemeris, which is calculated dates and times of the degrees of each planet and planetary body, or you go online and you're looking to see when your own solar return is, there are a lot of free resources out there that you can find that and get the date and the time. I would highly recommend using that. And for each year, your best days and worst days could possibly shift by a day or so. So it's important to have your general calendar set up of knowing what the date range is, but then each year checking to mark in your calendar when these best and worst days are. Going back to this graph, I would get a calendar, and you can even use your phone app and mark down 30 days, 60, 90, etc., all the way around, so that you'll get an alert even uh, as to when your best and worst days are. All right, so this is just one example. But what if your birthday falls near the end or the beginning of a sign? And I'm using my daughter's date of birth, February 18th, as an example, because this is a perfect example. One would only make their birthday water when the sun is in one's own zodiac sign. So she is a 29-degree Aquarius. She was born on the last day of Aquarius. The first day of Pisces begins on February 19th. So what is she to do? You cannot go into the next sign because it's a completely different element, and the sun rays are completely different and not aligned to your own birthday. But she can use the 18th, if that is her solar return, and then 5-6 days previous, she'll set up making her birthday water. I have to just say it one more time. You do not want to go into another sign. Now, say, for example, you were born on the 19th, which is the first day of Pisces. You would not be able to go backwards. So you can only go forward the day of birth and then forward 5 days, just to be clear. And I know you have a smaller window, right? Of course you do. But like I said, you think about when the sun moves into a particular sign, it's the rays and energy of that sign. And so if it goes into the next sign, for example, here, Aquarius into Pisces, you're going from air element into water element. Air element is all about the intellect, thinking, words, communication, etc. And the water element is all about the emotions. So you could be bringing energy to yourself that is not conducive to your own vital life force. And then I'm going to hold this here for a moment. It's easy to Google the ingresses of each zodiac sign, but these are the general dates. And I do have it marked down on a calendar in subsequent slides so that you can all see when each sign goes, when the sun moves into each sign. So for Aries, which is the beginning of the zodiac, the sun moves into Aries generally around March 21st. Taurus, April 20th, Gemini, May 21st, Cancer, June 21st, Leo, July 23rd, Virgo, August 23rd, Libra, September 23rd, Scorpio, October 23rd, Sagittarius, November 22nd, and Capricorn, December 22nd. Now, there is some leeway on each side. You have to remember about leap years, and also, we don't have perfect 364, 65, 66 days a year. It wobbles, and then it has to be adjusted with the leap years every 4 years. So it's not perfect, but if you're using astrology software, whether it's free online or like I have professional software, you will be able to figure out the exact ingress of the sun into each sign. And the only people that really have to worry about this are those that are born on or near a cusp. So let me go back. What if, for example, someone was born on February 15th, right? So this is your birthday, February 15th. Well, you can go on that day, and then the 16th, 17th, 18th, and then you have to stop because the sun will be moving into another sign. And you can go back the full 5 days on this one because there's plenty of room. The one thing I do want to point out, it's always important for you to look and see the exact time that the sun will move into a particular sign, especially if you are on or near a cusp, because what if the sun moves in to Pisces, for example, at 1 o'clock in the morning on the 18th? So, that happens where the days are also split up, or maybe it's in the afternoon of your birthday and the sun already starts to move in. So you want to be really mindful. And this is mostly for people that are born on or near a cusp of a sign. So here are some examples going through the calendar. The X's mark the end of each sign, and I have the yellow set up here to show when are the good days. And then I only did it as an example in January. So if I have the end of a sign here in January on the 19th, that means that the new sign starts the following day, and those are your clear days. So just to give you an example. So the yellow is the end of a sign, the pink is the beginning of a sign. And there we have for January, February, March, April, May, and June. And as mentioned before, you really want to check and make sure what the timing is on those end and beginning dates, or the times, because they often show up in the middle of a particular day. So you may not even have the whole entire day to make your moon water, your sun water, I'm sorry, your vital life force birthday water or trine water. All right, and then here's the calendar for the next half for July, August, September, October, and November. All right, one more example. If one's birthday falls in the middle of a zodiac sign, in this example, I'm picking October 8th. It's just a random day. I was going to pick my BFF's birthday, but he falls at the end of the sign in Libra. So I picked October 8th, and you can make birthday water on the birthday and 5 days on either side. So if you're born in the middle of a sign, you reap the benefits of getting like a full 10, 11-day, 12-day period where you could be making your birthday or vital life force trine water. All right, so now I'm going to talk about the elements. If you're not familiar, all of the zodiac signs are assigned to a particular element. I think most of us know that, but maybe not everybody. So there's fire, earth, air, and water. And it's so important. This is why, if you are near cusp, you shouldn't go into the other element or the other sign, because it's a conflict to your own vital life force. So the fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. The air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And the water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. The other reason why this is so important is because these are your sister or brother element signs that you will be making trine water on. So these are all within 120 or 240 degrees of each of your birthdays. I have to stop sharing. I've got to turn around and shut my window. Sorry about that. I know, kind of freaky that you can't see the window. My neighbors decided they're going to mow their lawn. And anyway, so when you say, for example, you're an Aries, you will make trine water when the sun is in Leo and Sagittarius. If you're a Sagittarius, you'll make it when it's in Leo and Aries. You stay within your element. And those are the elements or the signs that are 120 and 240 degrees, or 120 and 240 days from your birthday. Those are your time zones. So if, say, for example, I'm recording this video in May of 2024. We're in Taurus season. But what if you were in Aries and you recently celebrated your birthday and you're watching this video and you're thinking, oh no, now I have to wait a whole entire year for my birthday? No, you don't. Because when the sun moves into Leo, the third week of July, you have the opportunity to make trine water and use it for the rest of the calendar year on those lower vital life force days. Subsequently, Sagittarius, when the sun moves into Sagittarius, which is the third week of November, you can also make another vessel of the trine water, which should carry you up until your birthday when you get to make the birthday water. And that's the same for any of these signs. So if you're even a Taurus, since we're at the end of Taurus season, if you've already had your birthday and you're thinking, oh, I missed my window, well, then you can catch it on Virgo and Capricorn. Upcoming birthdays would be Gemini. Also, too, so say you're watching this video trying to think, I have a lot of friends that are Libras. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, I have to wait until my birthday in September or October to make my water. No, you can take advantage of that now and see where, because we're getting ready to come into Gemini season. The sun will be moving into Gemini on Monday, May 20th. So whether you are a 0 degree or a 29 degree Libra, you have an upcoming opportunity very soon to make trine water. You just have to count 120 days ahead of your birthday or 120 days behind or 240 days and find out which day in the month of May/June would be your trine water day. So I hopefully you understand what I'm explaining. If not, I'm very open to any questions that any of you may have on this in general specifics. If you need me to calculate your days, you would have to place a request for a reading with me and then put that in the notes, because I'm not going to get that personal on anybody for their charts. But if you have general questions, I'm more than happy to help you with that. Trine water, what is your element? So, I've been talking about the trine water, and you really need to know what your element is based on your zodiac sun sign. So for the fire signs, we have Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. This is, so if you're in Aries, 120 days from your birthday, the sun will be in Leo. And then in another 120 days, it will be in Sagittarius. So you see a trine, it's a triangle. Fire signs, as mentioned previously, these are the days that you can make that vital life force water. For earth signs, we're looking at Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So no matter where you are in the zodiac wheel, you should be coming upon a time period where you will be able to make trine water. And I'm going to go back to the calendar. What I would do is, you can do it in your phone. I would probably, if it were me, I would be calculating it out, writing it down on paper, maybe marking it on a paper calendar, but most likely putting it in my phone. And since I'm coming up on my own birthday, I have to do this as well. It's easy to figure out what is the day that I need to make it for the birthday water. And then I have 120 days at least before I have to think about the trine water. And I would put it in your phone calendar so that you can get an alert. Remember to stay within your own element. And that's also important, especially important if you are on a cusp, because you want to make sure that you are making the trine water in your own element. I will say that I'm thinking about one person that I know that was born on a cusp and considered herself to be a certain sign her entire life. And I did her chart for her, and she wasn't 100% sure about her time of birth. So that got a little tricky, because depending on what year you're born, and like I was talking about before, especially in a leap year, the sign can change the day before your birthday if you're on the cusp. It's a day on either side. But when I did her chart, in that whole entire 24-hour period, it showed that she was a different sign. And she still, to this day, I want to say that was probably about 7 years ago, she still to this day refuses to accept that she's the other sign and not the sign that she felt like she should be or grew up thinking that she was. And the more that the longer that I get to know this person or have known this person, the more that I realize how much they really are the other element that they refuse to think that they are. So it's so important, especially when you are born near a cusp, to know, is this really my sign? And it was easy to do for her chart because the sign didn't change until the very next day. So knowing that she was born on this one particular day, on the cusp, I was able to go through all the way up through midnight and find out that she was definitely a different sign and also a different element. So why having an astrologer in your pocket is always a good thing. All right, back through the fire signs, the earth, the air, the water. And now, so you want to, I was thinking, all right, when should you not be making? I thought that I had like a little thing up here that said, do not make, I guess it got cut off when I put in this clip. When not to make birthday or trine water. This is when it gets really tricky, and following an astrologer, knowing an astrologer is really important because they may point these things out on their websites or social media platforms, and definitely in your readings. So you want to avoid eclipses within 48 hours on either side of the eclipse. So you're never going to make birthday water, moon water. I use a 3-day period of time on either side. I have written about and talked about why you don't make moon water or charge your crystals during eclipse season. It's chaos energy, and you do not know and cannot ever predict what is being infused into your water, into your crystals. So it's just best to avoid it. Even if you think you're setting the right intentions, it is called chaos energy and it is unpredictable. So you also do not want to make birthday or trine water when the transiting sun going around is conjunct the transiting south node. So currently, south node is in Libra for at least the next 6 months, 7 months, and then it will change signs. So it's always important to know what signs are the nodes in. That's also where the eclipses occur, just so you know. So, for example, the transiting south node being in Libra, Libras and all air signs want to be very cognizant of where is the sun when you're making the water. Conjunct means it's right next to. So when the sun is coming around, sun moves into Libra, you want to find out what is the degree that is occurring right now. So for example, I think South Node is at 15 degrees of Libra right now. Is that correct? I have my calendar with me on the other side of the table, and I don't have my ephemeris. I'm just saying, for example, I know that the South Node, I'm pretty sure, is at 15 degrees, which would give us a date of somewhere around the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of October, for example, somewhere in that first week. So if you were born during that time, you're not going to make your birthday water. You're going to have to wait to make the trine water, and you're going to have to make sure that it's, not having an effect on this transiting south node. And I don't know if I explained that perfectly. I may have to show you a visual in my astrology software. I think that could probably be a good idea. You stop sharing real quick so that I can bring up a plain chart. Um, mm, mm, mm. Do have to and think about that. Let me look at the transit. Okay. I'm going to come back and share my screen and show you what I mean. So you don't want the sun to be conjuncting the south node. Where is it? It's down here. Okay, so it's currently at 14 degrees. So let me animate this wheel and show you what I mean. So knowing that the south node is in Libra for the next 7 months, going to advance this wheel to end of September, right before we get into, so here, October 15th, where the sun is at 22 degrees. So I've got to back that up so that it matches this south node. You'll see them coming together. That's called a conjunction, but we're looking for an exact conjunction. I'm looking for the sun to be at 6 degrees. There you go. You do not want to make birthday water. So if you were born on or around September 29th, I would say the 28th, 29th, 30th, you will not be making birthday water this year because the south node drains one of their vital life force. If you already have birthday water, this is a great day to use your birthday water tincture on your chakras to boost your vital life force. All right. Well, at least we have that wheel up and I can go back and forth. All right. So when we're between, you don't want to make birthday or trine water when we're between two eclipses. Most eclipses are within 2 weeks of each other, one solar, one lunar. So we recently just had a lunar eclipse on March 25th, followed 2 weeks later by the total solar eclipse on April 8th. The lunar eclipse on March 25th was in Libra, and that was at 5 degrees. So once again, we're going to go back to that September 28th, 29th, 30th date. And then the total solar eclipse was at 19 degrees of Aries and some minutes. So you do not want to be making any type of water, moon water, birthday water, trine water, when we're in between two major eclipses. Now, sometimes we have just one eclipse, rare, but it'll be a single standalone eclipse. That's when you can use like your 2 to 3 days on either side of not making the water. But when you know that there are 2 back-to-back eclipses, you're not making any moon water, you're not charging crystals, you're not making sun water, which is what this is. The transits, you will also not make water when the transit sun is exactly conjunct or opposite of transit Saturn. So I'll show you what that looks like. So I know that Saturn is in Pisces. We still have about a year left of that. And the opposite sign of Pisces is Virgo. So I want to look for when the sun, in this case, is around 14-ish of Virgo. So I'm going backwards into Virgo season. And I need to go back to 16, which great. So I have my Saturn return 3 times over the course of 2 years. And I am a 16-degree Saturn in Pisces. So this is not going to be a great time for me. But I can use my birthday water or my trine water during this time. Oh, wait, I'm going to go ahead. There we go. Oh, so I can't get it quite exact. So September 8th, September 7th, that's the time period. So if you were born September 7th, September 8th, even September 9th, possibly, I think you should be good. September 8th, September 7th, September 6th, 7th, the 7th and 8th. So you'll see that thick red line. The sun is exactly opposite the transiting Saturn. You do not want to make the water on those days, unfortunately. When the sun is in the bends or in between the north and the south nodes, exactly. So we know that the north node is in Aries. We know the south node is in Libra. What is exactly in between those two? So here we have Aries, there's Libra. When the sun is in Capricorn and when it is in Cancer at the same degree of the nodes. So let's go backwards. We'll go back, get the sun in Cancer. All right, so here we have the sun at 15 degrees of Cancer, which is July 7th. Let's see how that lines up with the nodes. So the nodes at this time are at 10 degrees. So I know that I need to go back a few days. There's 11. All right, so the sun is exactly between or in the bends of the nodes. This is July 2nd of this year. Also July 1st. No, sorry. It looks like it's just July 2nd. So there'll be no birthday or trine water on that day. Subsequently, we have to go to Capricorn season, which would be the beginning of January. All right, so Capricorn, now the nodes are at 0. They are getting ready to move into their next signs, which will be Pisces and Virgo for 18 months. So I need to find out where the sun is at 0 degrees. Right, now the nodes at that time are at 2, so I just have to quickly adjust. So December 23rd, if that is your birthday, you will not be making birthday water. And if you are a Virgo or a Taurus at 2 degrees, you will not be making trine water because the sun, once again, is in the bends or in between the south and north node. Go to the next one. The sun exactly conjunct, square, or opposing the degree of the eclipses in the last 12 months. Well, this is a little bit more difficult, and you would need an astrologer for that. But we know that the last 2 eclipses were 5 Libra and 19 Aries. So I would, for the air signs, I would say any air sign, Gemini, Aquarius, Libra, you're you want to stay away from 5 degrees. You have to figure out what day that is. So for the square and the opposition. So conjunct, that would be if you are a 5-degree Libra, which I believe I showed you already, you're not making the moon water. And then also you'll count 90 days from that day and 180 days. But you're not making, we're never making water on a square or an opposition ever. Those are the days that you're using the water. Now I'm trying to think. You can go and you can Google and find out what degrees the eclipses were at. I know a really great resource is I would Google Judith Hill eclipse dates, I believe it is. And she lists for like the next 10 years and previous what dates and degrees all of the eclipses are on. And she has a really great blog about, what the eclipses do to our vital life force. So Judith Hill, solar eclipse dates, and you should be able to, that should be able to take you there to her. I would show you, and I should have put some of the excerpts in here, but I didn't. All right, so also when the moon is conjuncting the transit or natal south node, this happens once per month. So yeah, the moon moves through all 12 zodiac signs every single month. That's why we get the new moon and the full moon. Those are the halfway periods. So every single month, the moon is coming back to the place of your birth. It's coming back to the place of your actual own natal moon. And what does that look like? So moon, we don't want the moon conjuncting the transit or natal south node. And let's see. I can show you an example with my own chart and what that would look like. Do it in a bi-wheel and dull and transit. Okay, so I'll animate that. All right, so we don't want the moon. This is the transiting moon. So in the middle is my birth chart. On the outside are the transiting planets, what's going on in the sky right now at this moment. And you don't want to be making water when the moon is conjuncting the transit or natal south node. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. So my natal south node is up here at 1349 of Sagittarius. So I don't want the moon in Sagittarius. And then the transiting south node is currently at 14 Libra. So for, say, this month, going to just advance this a few days. Actually, so the moon is currently in Libra. So sometime between now and tomorrow, the moon will conjunct. And that would be on May 19th. So I don't want to make any trine water. And actually, this would be trine water. This could be considered trine water or moon water for me because it's in my element, for example. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. So you don't want to make it on, say, today or tomorrow. Then for me personally, I'm going to look and see, well, when over this month will the moon be conjuncting my south node? And I know that we have a full moon in Sagittarius coming up. And that will be on May 23rd. However, that's at 2 degrees of Sagittarius. The following day, May 24th, you can see how the moon is lined up exactly to my natal south node. You don't want to make water, moon water, sun water, or otherwise during that time. All right, another consideration when the moon is conjunct, transit, or natal Saturn. So we'll go back again to my chart. Now, the transiting, well, I told you I have Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn is currently in Pisces for 2.5 years. So when the moon comes on top of these two, so when the moon is in Pisces, I'm just going to avoid that. Well, I wouldn't be making moon water during that time anyway, because I'm an air sign and I stick with my element. But for those of you that, if you were born during the time, the mid 60s, you probably all have Saturn in Pisces. So you just do not want to make moon or birthday water for the next year when the moon is in Pisces. And just to give you an example, I'll advance this moon. So here we have the moon in Pisces, and it's right on top of or conjuncting my, gotta go back hours. The moon moves quickly. So there it is, conjuncting my own natal Saturn in Pisces. And if I gave it another day or another couple of hours, it's conjuncting the transiting Saturn in Pisces. So that would occur July 24th. Probably, sooner than that. Let's see, Sagittarius, probably right before my birthday, I would think. I go back months, but I'm not going to be making moon water at that time. Yeah, so towards the end of June and also somewhere towards the end of May. Because remember, the moon is in all 12 signs every single month. So somewhere around May 30th. So this is interesting. I didn't even realize this. So the event of May 30th, the moon's in Pisces. It's getting ready to not only conjunct my natal Saturn in Pisces, but the transiting Saturn in Pisces. And this is why I'm noticing this is interesting, because if you take you back to the example of my own birthday, May 30th and 31st are 2 of the days that I'm supposed to be making my birthday water. So this is a great example. I'm glad this is like a happy mistake that this happened, because I already know that I cannot make birthday water in this time frame because of where my natal Saturn is and where the transiting Saturn is in relation to the moon. So I really have to wait until the moon moves into Aries. Get out. I got to get out of Pisces. So the moon is in Aries and it's conjuncting the North Node, which is vital life force. If this was conjuncting the South Node, I wouldn't be able to do that. So there I'd be okay. I have to wait. So I have to wait until June 1st in order to make my birthday water. So there, my own time frame has been shortened because of that. And this is another reason why you really need to know astrology, know an astrologer, or be able to use online resources, because Yes, you can count ahead, 120 days, 240 days, 60 days, etc. But you have to take a look and see what's happening in the sky. How will that affect my own chart, right? Okay. I hope you are all understanding this. Maybe you'll have to watch this again. Maybe you'll have to reach out to me and ask me some questions for clarification. I hope this was clear enough. Also, these are special days in which to make moon water or vital life force sun water. Now, you do have to be cognizant of all of these considerations. So, if any of these things are happening on these special days, you don't want to make the water because it's just not, think of it as like dirty water. If you're making it, during these times, think of it as poison, even. All right, so the special days we have, it's May Day or Beltane, which is 15 degrees Taurus. Now, May Day, this is a good example. May Day is always celebrated on May 1st. However, that's not necessarily 15 degrees of Taurus. So you have to be mindful by looking at an ephemeris or going online and seeing what is the degree of the sun. When will it be at 15 Taurus? That is the actual official May Day. Same for Midsummer's Day or Lughnasadh, it's 15 Leo. Halloween or Samhain is 15 Scorpio. But there's a big caution here. You don't want to make moon or sun water on Halloween, which is October 31st. You want to do it on the 15th Scorpio, which is usually never October 31st. If it is, you don't want to because the veil is so thin you don't know what it's being infused with energetically wise. So I don't recommend that. Midwinter's Day or Imbolc is 15 Aquarius, usually comes in around the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of February. The vernal or spring equinox is 0 degrees of Aries. The autumnal or fall equinox is 0 degrees of Libra. The summer solstice, 0 Cancer, and the winter solstice, 0 Capricorn. These are additional days where you can set out for moon water or sun water, vital life force water to collect the energy of these special time periods. All right, speaking of moon water, this is just a little some considerations. Now, moon water can be set out during full moon or even a new moon. That's typically when we charge our crystals or other objects as well. So you want purified water set out under the beams of the full moon. One's birthday moon is the full moon that is exactly opposite the actual birthday. So that is the 180 degrees that I showed you on that wheel, the exact half birthday or unbirthday. So for me, it comes around December 4th. You don't want to make sun water on that day. You want to use your sun water, but you can do the moon water. You also want to consider the body part of each full moon. And that would be something that you can Google what body part relates or correlates to each zodiac sign, or you can consult me because that's what I specialize in. But you can Google that information. Consider the element of each full moon. All right, so if I am a Gemini sun sign, that's air, although I have a Leo moon, you want to consider, do I want to make moon water on, say, a Cancer, Pisces, or a Scorpio moon? Because those elements really don't go with my own personal element. And do I want to incorporate that energy into my body? So people will set out moon water every single month, not really thinking about, well, what body part does this sign rule? So what am I bringing energy to? And also, what is the element? Is it air, fire, earth, or water? And what would be the consideration of incorporating that elemental energy into my being? All right, so using the same do nots as the sun, birthday, or trine water that I previously mentioned. And so you don't want to make moon water when the moon has any of these considerations. And there are more considerations, but these are the main topics, the main ones. If I incorporated every single possibility into it, it really wouldn't be astrology 101. Maybe this isn't even astrology 101, but it just becomes too complicated. And then you wind up with maybe one day out of the entire year, or you can actually make moon or birthday water. Um, and like I say, consider the why of each full moon, its element, its body part, and how will it be used on yourself based on your own natal chart and your transits. And now for some Q&A and how to make this moon water. Let me stop sharing. I'm back here. All right. So how do you make the moon water? So I found it interesting that it's recommended that you need a large copper bowl. So of course, while I was making this presentation, I went on Amazon, and I know a lot of people are against Amazon, but I truly like the convenience of it. And my son-in-law is an executive for that company. Not that that means anything. Um, I like the convenience. I hate the corporocracy behind it, but I enjoy the convenience, and I think that's why they are so successful. Um, so I ordered myself a copper bowl. It took me close to an hour to really find one because they can be expensive. You have to make sure that it is pure copper because I almost ordered this one bowl and then I went back and read the description like 3 times and I'm like, nowhere in the description does it say that it's pure copper. It says that it is 100% metal. So I'm assuming it must have been coated with something. There were a lot of bowls that did say that it was pure copper, but then it was treated with something else or couldn't be used other than a container to hold, say, fruit. You couldn't use it for eggs or something like that in cooking. So to me, I was like, okay, something not right about that metal. I did wind up settling on one that did say it was pure copper, and it was like a for egg making eggs or batter. So I knew that that would be safe, and I think it was just under $30 for that. And we'll see how that goes. I noticed that there were a lot of copper altar bowls, but they're only going to be very, very, very tiny, which that could be fine. But how much water will that hold? How much will it make? Will that serve your purpose? So you want a large copper bowl. And why? So Judith does explain in her book here why the copper bowl. And should have had these pages marked. Okay. So why a copper bowl for making sun water? And so going back through ancient times and uh, Yogananda in his autobiography of a yogi, his guru always said that he needed pure silver, pure gold, and pure copper to protect his mortal vital life energy that was threatened in his horoscope. Some Jyotish texts, Jyotish is ancient Eastern astrology, states that a water-filled copper vessel purifies gems and water for remedial purposes. So also too, copper appears to possess a power to attract both electricity and subtle emanations of many kinds. And also too, copper is second next to the highest conductivity level to silver for electricity. So that's vital life force, that's energy. Copper has a large association with water and is mostly made up of 35% of water. Copper absorbs water and shows a capacity for organizing fluids. Copper is a protective and traditionally absorbs the shock of accidents to the body. So two stones that are high in copper are turquoise and malachite. I don't recommend putting turquoise or malachite into your water. Some people like to charge their water with crystals. I don't recommend that because there are other elements in those stones that could be toxic and poisonous. But horsemen, cowboys would put turquoise in their pockets when they went out riding. And it is said that if they fell off the horse, the turquoise would break instead of them. And there are a couple of cases that I looked at that people tested that out and fell off their bicycles or something similar, and the turquoise broke and they were fine. Edgar Casey, who was a long time psychic medium, the sleepy psychic, he recommended malachite as well because of the high copper content. Also, copper is antiseptic and used as such in some medical situations. Bacteria avoids copper. So that's a really good reason why you would put your water in there. There are magical traditions that assert that nothing evil can pass through copper. Copper is resonant and used to make musical instruments. So therefore the harmonics. Copper purifies by subtle vibrations. Copper is Venus. Venus is metal. So every planet is associated to a metal, and like the sun would be gold. For Venus, copper is its natal metal, and so it's associated with love and harmony. Copper is harmonious with the sun's cosmic red ray and is prescribed one of two metal choices for the sun's gemstone ruby, gold being the other, and a mixture of gold and copper. Copper is beautiful. And considering the above findings, it's obvious that copper is an ideal receptacle for making sun water. Okay. Other Q&As. Oh, so you get your copper bowl. Optional is to have a large, wide funnel, copper funnel to place around the bowl. A wood or a copper stirring spoon. The DNA of an individual for whom the water is intended. So you're making your own birthday water. DNA, you don't want to use blood or spit or any kind of bodily fluid. A piece of hair is perfect. And I've never heard about putting this in my moon or sun water before, but in further reading, it's described that your own DNA is infused into this water. You'll need a dark glass jar, brown or blue, and a paper bag or a thick silk or wool cloth enough to cover the glass storage jar. So like say, for example, I have my copper bowl. It's out in the sun. It's getting all of the sun rays. You will want to pour the water into your glass vessel, and it should be dark colored so that light cannot get into it. So dark brown, blue. You can, I think you can buy black painted mason jars painted on the outside. I think my son-in-law has a couple. I'm gonna have to get one from him. Or I bet you if you, so I'm going to use mason jar. Bet you could paint it with some acrylic paint and then that would black out or cover up the light. So you'll pour your water into that after you make it, and then you take a paper bag or some kind of cloth sack and cover that, because when you bring it into your home, you don't want, and you'll have your lid on it already, you do not want your vessel of water to come into contact with any images, people, energy that once you're bringing it into your home. And then you could store this in your refrigerator. It's recommended before you do that, you have to add either grain alcohol or vodka to the water in order to preserve it and make sure that it doesn't grow any bacteria. And it's similar to making a tincture. So depending on how much water you're using, you can Google how much grain alcohol or vodka to the water ratio. This is also another reason why you may not be wanting to drink it, especially if you could be staying away from alcohol, abstaining from alcohol for any particular reason. And, you know, even though it's such a little bit, you're only putting so many drops of this into your water, so you may not even taste it. It's the same way to make herbal tinctures. That could trigger somebody who is in recovery for alcohol or even, you know, any kind of substance addiction, because the alcohol could trigger them. So the recommendation is to either use very strong concentrated tea, because that's considered antiseptic, especially clove tea that's made from cloves, or vinegar. And it wouldn't be pleasant to drink, right? And it could also have quite an odor. The reason why grain alcohol, it has such a high alcohol content. Most people that I know that make herbal tinctures use vodka because there are a lot of grain allergies, and vodka is made from potatoes. So therefore it is vegan and it's also grain free. So that's why vodka is typically the alcohol of choice when making any kind of herbal tincture. But you can Google that. The reason with the DNA, so the method of preparation on your birthday or on the days that trine your birthday, choose a quiet, undisturbed, level spot on a table with plenty of sun. If there's no sun, you can proceed anyway. Place the copper bowl in a safe place, secure spot exposed to full sunlight during the soul's peak hours of influence, which is sunrise and between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. standard time. Sunrise is always very good, but you do have to check and make sure that, you know, it's aligning to your natal chart. You're going to fill the copper bowl with pure or distilled water that has not been stored in plastic or metal. Glass is okay. Then you're going to take, this is optional, but place a strand of your hair, your DNA, into the water and stir the water clockwise. I guess that looks counterclockwise because of the way the screen is. 9 or 108 times. The 108, that's how many, I think, beads are on a rosary or on a mandala. So 108 times to increase marking the water with your own frequency. You might repeat a holy word, a prayer, a mantra into the water. Avoid doing a voice imprint if you are feeling ill when you're making this. Again, 9 or 108 times is how long you'll stir clockwise your hair into the water. And then you're going to leave the water out during that period of time. And then, like I said, you'll pour it into your vessel. You will add your grain alcohol, vodka, clove tea, or vinegar, depending. Seal it up. You're going to put a bag of some sort over it, and then you're going to take it and put it in your refrigerator. You're going to use it. I guess maybe you could have some on your birthday, and definitely put it on all of your chakras. And I did not grab a picture of the chakras for you, like I said that I was going to do. Chakras. And most of us do know where all of the chakras are, but not everybody does. I'm trying to get an image that would be really good for all of you. This is not the best one. Of course, I can't find one that's going to show up. This is Chakra 101. Oh, here we go. Okay, this could be good. Let me share my screen again. And you can Google the chakras. All right, so you'll put this tincture of the birthday or trine water on the worst days, which is your crown chakra, third eye, which is right between your eyebrows, your throat chakra. Then there's your heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral chakra is right around the belly button, the root chakra. And this isn't even that great. The root chakra is where you sit. And there's another one, another example. If it comes up, of course, there's always sharing issues, correct? Always sharing issues. The root chakra is where you sit, but you'll also hit the soles of your feet. There we go. This is good. The crown, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacral, root, and don't forget the soles of your feet as well. And you'll use the birthday water or the trine water on those areas. Now, it's up to you if you choose to drink it. I wouldn't, but you can do, like with herbal tinctures, a couple drops under your tongue, and that shouldn't have a huge effect. But, check with a medical professional before doing any of that. Let's see. Were there any other frequently asked questions? Yes. And what is strongest, birthday water or trine water? Trine water is probably a more predictable healer, though it is best combined with birthday water. If made correctly, both are very powerful. Little is known and had a great, little is known and a great deal more experiment is necessary. William Gray appears to have used both. He was an, medical astrologer a couple hundred years ago who came up with this. If it's raining, snowing, or dark, can we still make sun water? So the astrological frequencies we are attempting to collect are vibrating anyway, regardless. If sunlight is present or absent, obviously bright sunlight is preferred. Some regions of the earth are devoid of the sunlight for months. And this may explain why moon dew was preferred in ancient times. So what is moon dew? You could take your copper bowl and put some fresh herbs in a copper bowl and set it out under the beams of the moon to collect the dew. And you can use that in making an herbal tincture. So if you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you may have seen that I post every May day, the 1st of May or 15th degree of Taurus. I go out first thing in the morning before the sun has come up and I collect the dew off of my grass. And this year it was a patch of clover. And I wash my whole face with it. Could be the reason why I look this good for how old I am. Uh, that's a joke, but I know my siblings, best friends, I may not see them for like a year or so, and they look at me and they're like, "We definitely know you're a vampire." It's the moon dew. It's the May Day dew. So a lot of people do collect moon dew on fresh herbs in a copper bowl, and then they make tinctures with it, and then they use it on their days where their vital life force is at its lowest. Okay, can I set up a business selling sun water through the mail? No, you can't, because for so many reasons, but some water is harmed or destroyed through the exposure of scanners, flights, radiation, post office, like that handling and everything will deteriorate anything that is purpose, the reason why you're even making it. So what if I'm born on a cusp? Can I still make birthday water? I discussed that whole thing here, what to do. And yes, you can, but you got to be really careful. What prevents sun water from continuing to collect emanations after bottling? That's what that bag is used for. And also the use of blacking out like a mason jar, so that it's not collecting any vibratory frequencies. And so it's so difficult to protect your sun or moon water from EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, Wi-Fi frequencies. So, like in this day and age, we're just loaded with technology. That's one of the other things I wanted to talk about. When you're making your sun and moon water, you need to be at least 30 feet away from any electrical outlets or technology devices like your phone, your computer, your TVs. I know that that is impossible in a lot of cases, especially if you live in an apartment or, a very small space and you may only have just like a windowsill or a balcony. Do your very best to try and remove as much electromagnetic frequency and Wi-Fi that you can. Maybe, shut it off during the time that you're making it. Um, so when collecting some water, wouldn't all concurrent cosmic frequencies, including those of the moon and planets, also be simultaneously collected? Correct. Yes. Yes, that is true. Um, so, and this is to not be avoided. That's why I talked about, here's your general list of when not to make it, but you really also need to be aware of what is going on in the planets transiting and what is happening, how it affects your own chart, because you may not want to be making the water. Do you want to infuse that water with strong square between Mars and Saturn? Like you're adding so much malefic energy into it. So you really need to be aware of what's going on. And this is just for general purposes, for fun and folly. of something that we can explore together. How is the sun, moon, and planet water different from homeopathy or flower essences? So homeopathy is a technique of imprinting the atomic vibration of herbs and stones and minerals and flowers into the water. And the sun and moon water collect the imprint of the cosmic time frequency. So it's pretty similar. We already talked about the copper bowl. And I think that's it. Um, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this little astrology lesson, and maybe it will inspire you to dive more into astrology, making your own birthday water, your trine water, how to boost your vital life force, especially on your worst days, and also give you some things to consider as to why and how you would be making your moon water and at what specific times. So, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to message me at expressionsoftheuniverse.com, and you can email me through there or through Facebook and Instagram. And I'll be back maybe with some more exciting um, information for you soon. We'll see what the next topic is. If there are topics that you want me to discuss, feel free to send that to me as well. Until next time, be sure to subscribe and like and get notifications when I put out new videos. Have a great time. Have a great have a great time. Have a great day and enjoy making your birthday water. Ciao.